Welcome back to this not so short video series anymore. I'm going to show you every piece of equipment here at Untamed Strength. In the first video, I showed you all the machines here. Second video, we talked about racks and benches. Today is all about the strongman equipment. Here you go. Get up. Come on. Come on. Good. One more. If you're going to call yourself a strongman gym, you're going to need some Atlas stones. Here at Untamed Strength, we've got stones from 100 pounds all the way up to 365 pounds. Right here. No, this is the 365. And it's been said that you're not a real strongman gym if you don't have a 400-pound stone. So I guess Untamed Strength is not a real strongman gym yet. I made all these with my own two hands. They were all made with Slater stone molds. So technically I did not get them for free. I had to buy the stone molds. But if you know a strongman or you can find a strongman gym, they might let you borrow their Atlas stone molds and you can make your own using those. So if you can borrow them, I would suggest it.
I thought you found these in the forest.
Yep, yeah, perfectly shaped circular rocks, smooth rocks found in the forest. This is the stone loading platform we have, made by Beastmetals. You're gonna see a lot of Beastmetals in this video. He's a local guy, 20 minutes from here. He started his company kind of around the same time I started Untamed Strength, so I've acquired a lot of equipment from him. I used to have just a wooden shelf that I made that went inside the squat rack, and we would load stones up into the squat rack. We outgrew that, and I made a wooden stone loading platform shelf that eventually kind of got destroyed, and I bolted or drilled it against a concrete wall so well that when we moved and came to this location, the third location, I had to destroy that thing in order to get off the wall. So we made this one. What's nice about it is that it is made of steel. It's got these cutouts so that the stone can sit. We've got 5 different heights. They actually come apart down here at the bottom, so you can take one segment off if you need to use it for a strongman show or whatnot. I actually brought one of these, just one of these stands to Super Training so that Brian Shaw could do some stone loading videos. And this was actually signed right here by Brian Shaw. No stone is unliftable. Brian Shaw, 4 times world's strongest man. Apparently it is, because we got all these scratches here. Now, a couple of things I don't really like about this stone loading platform is the fact that it's not bolted down, which I guess isn't too bad. This is extremely heavy, but if you've got a 300-pound guy with a 300-pound stone falling forward into this, it does move a little bit. All that we ask here at Untamed Strength is that you spot from the other side if you're going really heavy. So you just kind of hold this side down. We've never had any problems with it. It's never tipped over. This is also really no bueno. These pieces here, as you can see, when someone misses a stone, it hits this and bends. I don't really care that this bends, but sometimes it does ricochet back into someone. And someone should tell Steven that you should not park there, because when we're doing Atlas stone loads and you drop the stone, it bounces underneath, we've had to go rolling out in the parking lot. So don't park right in front of the Atlas stone loading platform. Anything else to mention about this thing, John? This was one of the first stones that I made, 240-pound Atlas stone that I made in my backyard. A few of these other stones were a part of the first batch that I made. I have a Atlas stone video. Go check that out. I'll link it up top. I made a lot of mistakes with making Atlas stones. We've actually broke a few, but I've gotten pretty good at it, and these stones stay put. My favorite strongman event, the tire flip. We've got a couple of small tires that we really don't flip very often. We'll usually use it for drags, tire drags. These are a couple 100 pounds, 400 pounds, 440 pounds, 570 pounds, 640 pounds, and
1,000.
Can we guess how much this one weighs?
1,000 pounds.
800-pound tire.
800 pounds.
Oh!
Is this what it feels like to really?
The hardest 800-pound tire you will ever flip. I didn't pay any money for any of these tires. If you can find a tire depot or an old tire warehouse or a place that repairs old tractor tires, they often have unserviceable tires that they can't sell because the tread is so worn out, huge hole in it, gash, whatever. They will usually give it to you for free if you ask them, because they have to pay money in order for someone to come recycle it. So unserviceable tractor tires, call around and ask, or show up and ask, and they usually look at you kind of funny because you're like, oh, can I take your trash? But they'll give it to you. I didn't pay for any of these tires. I got pretty good at loading these tires into the back of my truck all by myself. You got to be pretty resourceful to be a strongman gym owner. I loaded 3 of these tires into my truck one time, just stacking them and flipping them into the truck. And I've actually talked about in a couple of old videos times when I used to flip tires, not literally, but I used to find out where I could get these tires for free, and then I'd sell them on Craigslist and charge for delivery. If someone said, hey, can you drive it out to me, I'd charge a little extra for delivery and the tire. And I did that for a few months because I needed to make a few hundred more dollars to make rent. So I was flipping tires, a little side gig. These tires are not for flipping, these are for deadlifting, kind of like the wagon wheels. I hosted a competition. It was my second competition at the very first location. I wanted to do a deadlift event, but I wanted to use something other than iron plates or bumper plates, something that was a little more visually appealing. So I went to a pick and pull, a junkyard, found a truck with 2 tires, and then I bought these 2 tires for like 20 bucks. Filled them with air, and I had a neighbor who was a welder put these on, weld these on, which fit a barbell. So you could put them on like plates. The downside to these things is a couple. They're huge, so you can't fit a whole lot of weight on a standard bar. I don't think you can fit more than 600 pounds on the bar. And they're very bouncy. We could let some air out, but we found that what happens when you do that, if you have 500 pounds on, they sag and they start to move around if there's not a lot of air in it. So we need it to be firm. One of the guys, one of the older members at the very first location was doing overhead like I just did, and he would drop the thing on the ground and it would bounce like 5 feet high. And I told him, I said, Dan, I'm gonna drop his name. He doesn't watch these videos. I said, Dan, can you stop dropping those? Because something bad's gonna happen. And he's like, yeah, sure. I saw him do it a couple weeks later. He's dropping it overhead. I'm like, Dan, you gotta be careful, dude. This is a tiny little warehouse that's gonna go through a window. Stop dropping these tires. Yeah, sure. I got a phone call at like 6 in the morning, one morning, and he's like, dude, fuck, the fucking axle bar went through the window. And I said, dude, were you doing overhead press? He's like, yeah, dude, and now that I think about it, I remember you telling me not to do that. It's like, I tell you that every single time you do it. So yeah, it bounced and the axle went right through the window. So they're bouncy. Good? Yep. Husafeld stone. These were made by Beastmetals. Beastmetals was into putting some like images on the Husafeld. This is the lion. Beastmetals here. This is 100 pounds empty, and it's plate loadable, so you throw plates in it. We actually just use a lot of these medicine balls. We'll just dump them in like that, and they stay put. They don't clink around like plates. This thing's awesome. There's the really clean welds. We have dropped this thing so many times and used it at competitions and training in the group classes. We have beat the hell out of this thing, and there's nothing wrong with it other than the decal ripping off. This was actually a design that he made for one particular contest we did.
Everybody was fighting, and the music was soothing, and they all started grooving.
At Cal Expo, the Sacramento Fit Expo. A little bit different, and then it has this T crossbar thing. Again, same thing, really clean welds, plate loadable, it's solid. This one's 130 pounds empty. I believe he actually gave this to me for free. Whenever we do these competitions together, he helps me out, I help him out, and we try to sell all the equipment that we use at the competition and whatnot. So I don't think I even paid for this one. I think he gave that to me if I remember correctly. While we're on the topic of beast metals, this is a yoke here, a 230-pound yoke. It can also be used as a sled. So if you drop this thing down, you can push this crossbar and these skis down here will slide pretty well on concrete. It's got grip here for someone to stand on, like a football sled. So you stand here and someone pushes it. Beast Metals was kind enough. I bought this yoke from him, but it's definitely been upgraded. So we had an issue with these breaking off at one point, the posts. And so I drove it over to him. I left it with him for a couple of days. He re-welded those posts, and then he actually put this cross piece here. This is where you put your back, or this is where you put the bar on your back. This cross piece adds a little bit more stability because it's bracing the uprights. It also has a flat piece so that you can do stone over bar here. So you can load a stone over this part and not this part. You'll see with a lot of really old yokes, when you're doing a bunch of stone loads over this round part, it starts to dent and it starts to bow down. And so you're now putting that on your back, which is really uncomfortable. So leave this for carrying and leave this for the stone load. So I really like this design. It can also be used, we don't use it as a squat rack, but it's got J-hooks that come with it. And you can, maybe if you were training in your own garage, you could use this thing. You just push this up to the top and use this thing as a squat rack. Check out this shirt.
USAPL approved, IPF approved.
This thing weighs about 500 pounds. It's actually 250. This is a homemade frame. That same guy that put the axle bar through the window made this, so we're all right. Homemade frame. He just had some of these beams, cut them up, stacked them, a couple of welds. This is the hardest frame that you will ever use, and it's been featured at many untamed strength competitions.
Feel the heat of a fire at your feet rising up.
And everyone who is confident with their frame carries is pretty humbled by this thing because it's so wide. So I am 6 feet tall. You can imagine someone who's 5'4" with short arms trying to grab this thing. It's really, really wide. And the handles are so long that it's really difficult to find the center by just eyeballing it. I actually have a new frame coming in, and I can't wait to do a review or a video showing you guys what it looks like. But we got a new frame coming in. I'm gonna keep this because there are some people who do like using it. Everyone else hates it. Beast Metals and Untamed Strength hosted a competition, Beast of Sacramento or something like that. We did a competition where we had a Fingles finger. And he asked me after the competition, he said, hey, I'll sell you a Fingles finger for really cheap. Do you want it? This was at the last location. I said, there's no way I could fit a Fingles finger in my gym. So no, I don't want it, but maybe we could cut them into segments and make some tanks out of them. And here we have Beast Metals tanks. So these are farmer's handles that we use, and they used to be Fingles fingers. 140 pounds each hand, long handle, which again makes it difficult to find the center. That's it. I wanted to actually simulate as best I can the scuba tank farmer's handles at California's Strongest Man, but no success. Those are some of the hardest handles I've ever picked up. So these are our tanks that we use. They're top loaded, which is really, really helpful. I'm not a fan of the plates that touch the ground because they're hard to load. So these ammo cans were all from a member at the gym who works on an Air Force base, and she brought them in. Don't know how she got them, but they're all ammo cans that are filled up with different weights. And they're actually gonna be used in a couple weeks at the strongman competition here at Untamed Strength to simulate a block press. They're gonna do an ammo can press. So these are, I think we have a 50 pounder somewhere, 50 all the way up to 200 pounds. I think they're filled with like bricks and gravel and styrofoam to evenly space them. But yeah, that's what these are. Moving on to beastmetals circus dumbbells. Circus dumbbells, I'm sure if you guys have watched Strongman, you've seen this. These are all three from beastmetals. This one is 60 pounds, this one's 100 pounds, and this one is 130 pounds. They are plate loadable, so you just unscrew this, take this off, and you can fit as big as a 25-pound plate in there. You can imagine how many 25s you can fit in here, way more than you need. It's a, 2-inch diameter, I believe. Use these at a bunch of competitions, no complaints. We have dropped these things plenty of times. They're still working good as new. Now let's talk about kegs real quick. So we have a bunch of kegs from 275 all the way down to 80 pounds. Plus this little pony keg that we used to practice for the keg toss at California's Strongest Man. These kegs were all purchased off of Craigslist. Some guy, this is the story that he told me, said that he goes to a recycle center that's right next to his house, right behind his house. And he goes there once a week because apparently on Sundays is when it opens, something like that. And he said that a whole bunch of homeless people always show up with empty kegs trying to cash it in for money. They steal these kegs from behind restaurants and try to cash it in at this particular recycle center, but they don't accept these kegs. So these homeless people are always stuck with empty kegs. And so he said he offers them $1 for each one. And so he has them stockpile in his house. Don't know if that's the case. Maybe he's actually the one stealing them from behind restaurants. But anyways, he sold them to me for super cheap. And I didn't know how to open them. Joey Zatmary just put out a video recently about how to open and close a keg. This one was actually inspired by that. You just pop the top off with pliers. Go check out that video, and then cap the top with just this plumbing cap and tighten it up. This is the easiest way to do it. What I did was I had a neighbor who welded, and he actually cut some of these kegs. If you can see that?
Yep.
He just cut these open, we filled it up, and then he welded it back together. But kegs are super easy and cheap. You can do keg presses, you can do keg carries, you can do keg loads if you don't have a stone load. Again, Strongman Gym, you should have kegs. Sandbags. I've done a video about sandbags and a sandbag review, so I won't talk too much about them. You can go watch that video if you're really interested. I've had Iron Mine sandbags, I've had the Cerberus or Cerberus sandbags, the Rogue sandbags, I've had military duffel bags, and so far the Iron Mine and the Rogue sandbags are the only ones that I really would suggest buying. The Cerberus suck, the military sea bags suck also, but we have 60, the little 60 pounder here, 80, 100, 150, 200, 230, up to 275. Again, we've used these. I've used the Iron Mine sandbag at I think every competition I've done, and it's still holding strong. Still a really good sandbag. What's great about sandbags is you can do stone loads with the sandbags, or you can do sandbag loads to mimic a stone load. So you don't have to get tacky on, or if you don't have any stones, you can just use sandbag loads. This thing is a duck walk, broken duck walk implement. So actually this is the second time it broke. First time it broke right here. This whole handle came off. That was re-welded. The second time it broke here. So a little crap welding job. But this is 125 pounds for a duck walk. And it was used, I think it was actually used for power stairs in NAS Nationals a long time ago. The guy, I guess, was helped promote it or something like that, and he lives in Sacramento and sold that with some other strongman stuff. Let's talk for a second about farmer's handles. I'm gonna show you guys all the farmer's handles I have. These were the first I had 3 pairs, I had 3 pairs of these farmer's handles initially. I got rid of 2 of them, but I kept 1, mainly because sentimental value. These are Christian Fitness Factory, CFF Fit. Christian Fitness Factory Fit. But these are 50 pounds each. Tanks like this, they're plate loadable, you put them on the end here. A couple things, well, one thing that I like about them is that they're heavy and they're pretty durable. But with that said, they have taken a beating over the years and we really don't use them anymore. This end piece is so banged up that you can't slide a plate on it without really almost sledgehammering it down. These handles, this one's fine, but these handles also, I think it's just this easy little tack weld or something like that, but they break loose and they spin. I think the reason that I held on to this one, this pair, is because these handles are fine, but the handles eventually spin. Other than that, I mean, we've had them for 5 years, so they've definitely taken a beating. I actually got these for the high school football team that I used to train before I even opened Untamed Strength. So these are older than Untamed Strength. Logs. So I've got 4 strongman logs. Traditionally, you're gonna see 3 different size logs. Strongman logs, there's probably some poop joke. So you're gonna see an 8-inch log, which is not very common. A 10-inch, meaning the diameter of it. A 10-inch log, which women usually use in competitions. Not always, but usually. And a 12-inch log. This one here, these are all beast metals except for the Rogue log on the other side. This is a 55-pound, 8-inch log made by Beast Metals, and I did not buy this. This used to belong to one of the members here. This log also belonged to one of the members here, but I've been blessed to have some great members, a good community, and when they leave, they kind of just donate to the gym and they leave it behind. Or they move into an apartment and they have nowhere to put it, so they just leave it here. But I didn't buy this log. I think this is one of the first logs that Beast Metals used to make, and not a fan of it. So he put this cutout here with a handle for farmer's carries. So you could do a farmer's carry with this log. This is a 55-pound log. The silly part about that is not many people are buying 2 of the same log, so you can't do farmer's carries with it. And this cutout gets in the way when you clean the log because your chin is in that. So a lot of people will hit their chin as they press. Kind of a stupid idea. But 55 pounds, so when someone's starting to, not very strong overhead, this is a good log to start on. This is a 10-inch log from Beast Metals. Superb piece of equipment. Great welds. Again, we dropped the hell out of these things and there's nothing wrong with them. This big one is 12 inches and it's 180 pounds. Come on over here. This was the very first log that I ever bought before I knew who Beast Metals was. It was the Rogue log. You can see that this is actually a little bent now because we've had it for a long time. And some things that I don't really like about this log. Rogue has a new log now that's improved, but the handles are fatter than a standard barbell. This is the same diameter as a standard bar. The handles are fatter and they're wider, so they're further apart. So a little harder to grip and the press feels a little bit wider. You'll notice that this is cut straight across and this is curved like that. So that's the actual visual difference there. So I bought the Rogue log and this 180-pound log. I did not buy the other 2. Oh, the stand, this is pretty cool. So we used to put these in the corner of the gym and just lay them up against the wall in the corner of the gym, but I wanted some sort of storage for these things. So Beast Metals made this plate stand down here, and the thing is like 120 pounds. It's just solid steel with these inserts. So yeah, and these aren't going anywhere. Last but not least, farmer's bars and axle bars. Farmer's handles and axle bars. You're gonna see a whole bunch of specialty bars. I'm not gonna talk about those right now. I might talk about them in the next video, but I just wanna talk about, these are, I think this is from Rogue farmer's handles. I like them because they're light, so anyone can use them. They're only 25 pounds per hand, but I'm not a fan of the plate-loaded farmer's handles where the weight has to rest on the ground because it chews up the bumpers When you slam the weight down, it kind of bends and flexes the bumper. So the bumpers really take a beating, and it's just a pain in the ass to load. I prefer top-loaded farmer's handles like those tanks over there. So these are from Rogue. This is from Beastmetals, same exact thing. I didn't pay for these also. They were donated by 2 members of the gym. And these guys are the Fat Grip farmer's handles that are all rusted up. But these are the Fat Grip farmer's handles. I think 1 year, 2 years ago at California Strongest Man, they had a Fat Grip farmer's carry. And so I had these made by, don't remember who. I had these made so that the members could train with Fat Grips. I have not purchased an axle bar online. All these axle bars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they were made by people that I know. Usually welders that are either next door to the gym or next door to my house who just make stuff in their garage. This, for example, I talked about this in one of my videos, homemade strongman equipment. I'll link that video up. But this is just electrical conduit. It's just a pole, and we just added these on at the same distance or length of a barbell sleeve, and that's it. Put some tape on it. So this cost me next to nothing to make. And that goes for every single bar. These ones are just painted black. So I didn't buy any of these axle bars online. Dawson, what else am I forgetting?
I don't use any of that stuff.
What is your favorite piece of strongman equipment here at Strength?
Never used any strongman equipment ever. So.
I know you've never used strongman equipment because you're using the 20-kilo bar in competition plates.
Exactly.
That's how I know you are not a strongman.
Exactly.
So we got some grip stuff. I'm gonna invade your space over here.
Go for it.
Rolling Thunder. This is the Sornex Rolling Thunder. We have an actual Rolling Thunder right here. And we got a whole bunch of silly attachments for doing grip stuff with the posts. Untamed Strength was actually, for a few years, advertised as a strongman only gym. And as a marketing trick, that seemed to work because everyone coming knew what they were getting into. And if they were looking for strongman, they knew this was the place to come. It wasn't really for powerlifting or weightlifting or even general strength training. It was just strongman only. But eventually we kind of grew out of that. A lot more powerlifters started coming to the gym. So now it's a powerlifting, strongman, general strength training gym. That's it. I'll probably make another video about the specialty bars and some miscellaneous stuff. I have a bunch of other stuff that I haven't shown you guys that I didn't group into machines, strongman, or racks and benches. So that'll be a miscellaneous video. Thanks for watching, and always remember, tread on time.